let's continue and talk about rights issues. Now, a rights issue, we've already said to each other, is a share offer that is made to existing shareholders, and usually it's done at a good price. So if the share is, for instance, trading on the JSE, let's say argument's sake at 10 Rand per share, then when they do a rights issue, they offer this new shares to the existing shareholders at a very special price, let's say of 9 Rand per share. So therefore, the existing shareholders has the right to take up the shares, the new shares that's going to be issued by the company, and nobody else. Now, regardless of who is sitting on the other side of the table, whoever the potential investor is, whether he's an existing shareholder and whether he's a new shareholder, out of an accounting perspective, what happens? New shares are issued. At what? At whatever the price is. So out of an accounting perspective, it is nothing different from recording a rights issue than recording a normal share issue. It is the mechanics behind that is different. It is just that this offer is only being made not to the general public, but to a lot of people who are the existing shareholders of the company. I refer you to this small YouTube video. I think it's a 2 minutes video. Please have a look. There you can see they explain to you what is a rights issue, and there's the link to the YouTube video. Now, the next thing that we have to know is what is bonus shares. Now, what are bonus shares? There's also a short YouTube video where you can have a look what bonus shares are. That's also very short. It's not longer than 2 minutes, so you can quickly have a look there, and then you can come back and watch the rest of this video. Now, here we're going to issue shares for free to the existing shareholders. Now, that seems to be very nice. You didn't know that there is still things in life that is for free. Now, it is strictly speaking not for free. If you think about a company, what happens if a company do not declare dividends out of their annual earnings? So if they're going to retain a portion of their earnings, their profits, they're not going to declare it by ways of a dividend. So slowly they're going to build up a retained earnings reserve, which is going to grow over time. Now, what happens is, if that amount is going to get too big, they can decide to capitalize that, and in return for retained earnings, who does the retained earnings belong to? Retained earnings belongs to the current shareholders. So I can, instead of giving them a dividend or declaring a dividend on which they're going to pay dividend withholding tax, I can give them shares for so-called free. It's not really free. What I have to do is I have to swap some of my retained earnings, and I'm going to swap that for share capital. So that is what no cash is received by the company. It's basically only a move of equity out of retained earnings into share capital. Now, yes, shares are issued at the shareholders in the same ratio as the existing shareholder. So one guy cannot benefit to the detriment of somebody else. So everybody, if you had 5 shares in the company, they probably will tell you for every 5 shares that you have, you will receive 1 free share, or whatever the ratio is that they are deciding on. So your total equity, which consists of share capital, retained earnings, does not change, but the breakdown of that equity is going to be different. Retained earnings is going to reduce and share capital is going to be increased. Now, here the directors can decide what was the price of shares. So let's assume they have, argument's sake, R1 million of retained earnings. They're going to issue bonus shares for 50% of that amount. So they're going to issue bonus shares to the value of 500,000 Rand. Now, the board of directors can decide, is this going to be 10 Rand shares, 100 Rand shares? What is going to be the issue price of the shares? But in total, it doesn't matter, because in total, it's still going to be 500,000 Rand. So what are we going to do? We're going to debit retained earnings, and we're going to credit share capital. If it's ordinary shares, ordinary share capital. So let's have a look at an example. ABC Limited has 1,095,000 shares issued. On 31 December 25, they decide to do a capitalization issue, which is the same as a bonus issue, whereby each shareholder will receive 3 ordinary shares for every 2 shares held at a price of 5 Rand per share. Good. So where do we start? We say, well, we have 1095,000 shares. Every shareholder is going to receive from Mahala. They're not going to pay anything for that. They're going to receive 3 for every 2 shares held. So we're going to divide the 1095 by 2, multiply by 3. So the company is going to issue share certificates equal to 164,500 shares. What is going to be the Rand value of the issue? Well, that number of shares is going to be issued at a price of 5 Rand per share. So the total Rand value of this issue is 8212,500. Is any new money coming into the company? No. What is going to happen? I'm going to capitalize some of my retained earnings, and I'm going to call it share capital now. So our journal entry is going to debit retained profits or earnings with 8212,500. I'm going to credit my share capital with 8212,500, and that is then the capitalization issue of 164,500 shares.